What's good, y'all? Welcome to Good Morning Nation. Y'all know what it is. We're coming off of a tough loss against the 49ers, but at the end of the day, we got a lot of things we could talk about, all the way from the quarterback spot, some good things, all the way to the defense, some bad things, back to the coaching staff, man. But I'm here for y'all, man, Raider Nation. I hope y'all having a good Monday morning on your way to school, on your way to work, on your way to the grind, whatever it is. Happy New Year's, by the way, as well. Hope everybody's feeling great. Let's get into this one because we have a huge one because it's been about 9 years since the last time we've seen a different team, or excuse me, a different quarterback playing for this team. And I think it was pretty exciting. I think it was a lot of fun to see Jarrett Stidham out there be able to do what he does in this system that he's been in for 4 years under Josh McDaniels that everybody loves to talk about. Now, shout out to everybody that's in the chat, man. It's a little early, I know. We still got to wipe the sleep from our eyes, but at the end of the day, we're still going to get some good talks, and we're still going to have some fun here, man. So shout out to everybody in the building. He says all starters in Stiddy, I believe, after KC primetime game. We're going to see what happens, man. You know what I mean? It's only been one game. I don't want to put all the chips out there on Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, I still want to see what else he could do against the Chiefs. There's only been one game. The verdict is still out. Let's put it out like that. The jury is still out, I should say. And I want to see more from him, right? So let's give it some time. Shout out to our guy, Jarrett Stidham, in the building. Yes. What a great game for you. Shout out to you, man. Happy New Year's, Raid. Man, I'm glad I bought DC that TV for Christmas so he could watch the game today. Yo, wilding out, man. And Nation, I'll be back next year, but I'll be wearing number 4 like I did in New England. Wow. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I honestly didn't even think about that because he was number 4 back in New England. I wonder if he would come back next year, he would grab that number 4. Wow, that would be crazy, man. That would be crazy to see somebody starting at the quarterback spot wearing that number 4. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to Jarrett Stidham. What a game you had yesterday. Applaud you. Appreciate you coming out there showing up. Mark Davis's barber says, for me, I think any quarterback from that Patriot system could dominate here with the talent we have on this team. Top 5 tight end, wide receiver, slot wide receiver, and running back. It's a tough system to know. That's why Z White didn't play much. True, you could definitely say that. But a lot of these guys are in their first year, but we do have that talent, right? That's why I feel as if it doesn't matter too much who the quarterback is. Of course it does. You can't just have a complete garbage quarterback. But that kind of goes to what I was saying when it comes to Derek Carr is that where's the gap between talent when it comes between paying a guy $35 million going into next year versus paying a guy $1 million to $5 million in a Jarrett Stidham caliber quarterback. And that's kind of where it was for me. I feel like we could have had a guy performing the same way as Derek Carr, paying them way less. I mean, think about it. Derek Carr this year was getting $20 million. Jarrett Stidham is getting $900,000. That's 20 times as much. Derek Carr is making 20 times as much as Jarrett Stidham, and we could have been getting similar play from a guy making much less. So that's where I was coming from, especially from a team perspective. Because if we did have an extra 20 to 35 million in cap space, that's a dominant defensive tackle. I mean, I remember people saying, oh, we couldn't trade for Roquan Smith because we would have had to give him a contract. Well, if we would have had that extra money, we wouldn't be having to worry about a linebacker because we'd have one of the best ones of Roquan Smith. But then again, cap space, draft picks, we didn't want to use it on a linebacker. It is what it is. It is what it is. Jarrett Stidham, Nick Bosa giving Jacobs some props. Says he's the best running back he has ever played against in his career. And I did see that, man. Shout out to Josh Jacobs. Shout out to Nick Bosa for dropping that gem for us. Mason Blue in the building. Hey, sorry, Mason Blue. I know you're a Raiders fan, but I also know you're a Michigan Wolverines fan, and I'm sorry they had to go out like that. What up, brother? Raid, hope your day is going well. I hope your day is going well too, Mason Blue. Appreciate you pulling up, man. I know you and Honcho are the Michigan fans, but hey, it was a tough one. Tough one. Damn, back-to-back days, tough losses, man. Yeah, Hadamaki, shout out to you. Yo, what's good? Happy 2023. Let's do this. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate you big time, man. Bentley Gent, what up, nation? Shout out to you. Give some shout-outs to everybody. Dominique 5 in the building. Joel, what's good with you, man? Appreciate you being with us. 420 himself, Mr. Munster. Good morning, Graham Cam. Appreciate you being here with us. The cousin in the building, what it do, Digi Prez with us today. Eduardo wants to let the whole nation know good morning. Appreciate y'all being here with us. Bentley the Gent says the NFL flexed our game Saturday. Yes. So we're going to get, I believe it's a 4 o'clock. What is it? 4:30 Eastern time is us against the Chiefs. So they did our flex our game. I seen that this morning. Good morning, Foxy. What up, Ray? Does Graham need to go? I don't know if Graham needs to go yet. That's a good point. That's a good turning point right there. Does Graham need to go? And I don't think Patrick Graham needs to go yet. I really don't. Great question, brother. Y'all let me know down in the comments. Does Patrick Graham need to go? Y'all let me know down there in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, man. Good morning. Appreciate y'all being here. But I don't think it's time for Patrick Graham to go. As complicated as the offense is, the defense is just as complicated, guys. I think we need to understand that as well, is that this defense isn't simple like it was for Gus Bradley. You can't just really kind of plug and play players because you're not running a simple scheme as far as just go run the cover three. Everyone knows what everyone is doing because you do the same thing every damn game. When it comes to Patrick Graham, this is a multiple scheme defense. Patrick Graham has a multiple scheme defense, excuse me. And I think we need to understand that when you have Denzel Perryman go out, Jayon Brown, Divine Diablo, Chandler Jones, we're talking about the top 4 linebackers on this football team, and you're all the way down to playing Langley. We talked about this last night on the post game. We don't have any linebackers. And when you have Masterson, Butler, Langley starting for you, that's not a good recipe. That's not a very good recipe. And when you talk about the fact that in the last, I think 5 out of 6 games, we've held opponents to under 20 points. We've kind of showed a formula for a good defense. I mean, giving them the benefit of the doubt with the injuries, I don't think it's time to move on from Patrick Graham. It's a complicated system. He still needs to get his guys. I mean, how many defensive players did we draft in this previous draft? We got, 2 defensive tackles, I believe. And who else did we draft? Someone remind me. Who else did we draft? 2 defensive tackles, and was that it? Was those the only defensive players we drafted? I don't think we invested enough in the defense. Now, if we invested as much as we did on the defense as we did the offense, we traded for a Davante Adams in defensive perspective, let's say a first and a second for some dominant D tackle like Aaron Donald or something crazy like that. And then you turned around and you signed like a good safety. You know what I mean? Like a Tyrann Mathieu when he was in his prime. That would be a comparison to what we did on the offense. Because on the offense, we stacked the chips. Now it's time to go stack the chips on defense. I don't think it's time to go, though. Dakota says, wait, you mean it takes a little time to learn a system? Weird. I mean, I hear the sarcasm. Graham having to work with practice squad players. That's what I believe too. Yeah, for real. Raider Nomad in the building says, good morning, Ray. Is that quarterback rating comparison between Carr and Stidham accurate? 153 versus 140? I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really looked at the QB rating. I'm not a big fan of QBR. When it comes to quarterbacks, I just like to watch the game and see how they played as far as their playmaking ability, their attributes, their skill set, how they are in the pocket. At first, Stidham looked kind of nervous. He had those happy feet. When you watch him early in the game in his pocket, they're moving fast, right? He's tiptoeing a lot. He's jumping around, moving a lot. He's not set. His feet aren't set. He doesn't take a step one way. He doesn't take a step the other way. He's just happy feet. Move. But as the game went on, he started to settle down. He started to plant his feet. He started to set his feet, and then he got a little comfortable. That's what I did like to see out of Stidham. But as far as a QBR, I'm not 100% sure, my God. We need some stubs on defense. I know you meant studs. We definitely need some studs. Patrick Graham needs smart athletes to coach. Yeah, he does. I mean, it's going to take a little time to build that defense. I mean, it's been 20 years. You have to give him more than one single year. You know what I mean? Should have kept Nick Morrow. Potentially. I could see that. We could have kept him. Graham should get another year. Hopefully, we work on bringing in some talent for him. Okay. I definitely agree. Even when we had Perriman, Jones, and all of them on our defense, the defense sucked. Well, like I said, man, these past few games, they were actually working with a little something. I mean, let's be honest, man. They were holding teams to a reasonable amount of points. And that's kind of why we were in the position of being frustrated, or at least that's why I was being frustrated, because we were holding teams to what, 13 points the last game. So the last game, you're going to tell me we held teams to 13 points, and that's not good enough? Isn't that why? That's why I was frustrated, right? We holding teams to 13 points and we still losing with the quarterback making buku bucks, right? So this is me coming to the defense, playing devil advocate. I don't think the defense is good enough. I'm not saying that. So I don't want people to think that I'm sitting here trying to preach that the defense is fire or it's like better than what it is. No, I don't think so. What I do want to say is we don't have enough talent, and they've been doing somewhat good in these past few weeks. And we just played a very good San Francisco football team. And when you look at our past games, you can see. Let's start, and like I said, last 5 or 6 weeks with Pittsburgh. We held them to 13 points. The Rams, we held them to 17 points. The Chargers, we held them to 20. Denver, we held them to 16. So those are multiple games to where we held teams under 20 points. You talk about this Niners game. Niners is a very good football team. They have a very good offense. They have a very good defense. I didn't think we were going to be able to hold them. Honestly, I didn't think the game was going to be that close. But fortunately enough, it was. And Jarrett Stidham played the way he played. So I think we definitely have to give Patrick Graham another year. That's all I think. We just have to give our guy Graham another year. Redder Rob says, have to give him something to work with. Look at the 49ers defense. I believe they like 3 first-rounders on the line, Bosa, Kinlaw, Armstead. So we need to go off season getting best player available. 100% agree. And that's kind of where you have to compare. Like at some point in time, you have to compare and say, okay, did we do good on drafting the right players on the defense? And you think about it, how many times have we drafted players on the defense that are bust? You talk about Garyon Conley, Carl Joseph. Who was that other corner DB that we got that wasn't very good? Cleveland Ferrell. What's the other defensive player? Jonathan Abram. We've been drafting so many players on the defense that nobody wanted. Let's be honest. When we got Cleveland Ferrell, nobody was calling for his number. We were calling for like a Josh Allen. We were calling for Josh Allen, Ed Oliver, Devin White, just anybody besides Cleveland Ferrell that we needed. And we didn't make it happen. So I think this defense moving forward are going to draft a lot better, because you think about what the Patriots did with their last year with Zeke and Josh McDaniels. Zeke grabbed Christian Barmore. I wouldn't have been upset if we drafted Christian Barmore. Think about it. Instead of Alex Leatherwood, if we had Ziegler, instead of Alex Leatherwood, we would have drafted Christian Barmore. I would have been excited for that. Now, if we would have drafted Christian Barmore and Trayvon Merrick, that would have been a crazy draft. Let's be honest. At the value point at that moment, definitely would have been. Merrick plays half-assed. I believe Merrick isn't been playing up to his expectations. Haven't been seeing enough PBUs, interceptions, forced fumbles. Would love to see more from Merrick, especially from a turnover aspect. He's the safety. He's the young guy in the backfield that we kind of expected to be that ball hawk. Now, I don't know if it's because he's switching from that cover 3 Gus Bradley defense. Now he's going to a different scheme. He's being put in a lot different position. I mean, you talk about the fact that he was a single high with Gus Bradley. Now he's playing inside the box. Now he's playing in the slot. Now he's going outside to cover and follow whoever it is, whether it's a running back, the slot receiver, the tight end. And then you talk about the fact that we play zone as well. So he'll play a 2-high, single high, come down, play man. And I think that's going to take some adjusting for him to do. And I think this next season he'll play a lot better. And if he doesn't, obviously he'll be gone. But I think we got to give Merrick just another year. I would give him another year. It doesn't take 9 years to develop into a decent quarterback, yet here we are. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you, brother. Shout out to our guy EG in the building, Egalitarian 207. What's up with you, man? Appreciate you. Nick 5 says, why are you acting like Perriman and everyone was healthy? This defense wasn't blowing leads and stopping people. Now, I would just say the defense was playing a lot better, per se. I don't think they're a good defense. This is why I put that disclaimer out. I was just playing devil's advocate. I don't think the defense is where it needs to be. I don't think the defense is good enough. And that's why I compare the defense to the offense. That's why I compare as far as draft picks. How many people did we draft for this defense compared to how many people did we draft for the offense? We used our very first draft pick for an offensive lineman after using the first and second round pick to trade for a wide receiver. So it's at that point, you got to ask yourself, damn, we did not do anything to help this defense that's been bad for 20 years, but the offense has been good these last 10 years, at least the bright spot, and we continue stacking the chips over there. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We haven't done enough on the defense side of the ball to really say, oh, they should play this good. No, they shouldn't play this good because we haven't done shit. Let's be honest. Shout out to our guy Eric Delk, man. He says, do you think we keep Illuminor at right tackle? He's good, but has like 14 penalties on the year. I feel like Illuminor is one of those regime guys, right? I feel like Illuminor has that bias from Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, probably because he was in New England. He's played with them before. He knows the system. So I think he's going to get a lot of biased look his way. So I definitely think he'll be here next year, especially because he could be that swing guy. He could play in multiple spots. So he's definitely going to be here next year, in my opinion. But as far as starting, someone could definitely take his spot. I believe someone could take his spot because he didn't even start in New England for them. Only when someone got hurt, he did. We should trade Carr and Chandler Jones for Buckner and Ngakoue. I don't know if that would happen. Yeah, I don't know if that would happen. I don't know if that would happen. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I don't know. It seems somewhat far fetched. Raider Reaper weird. My 3 keys to having a good season at the beginning of the year are still relevant now. Sign Brian Dubois as head coach. Sign Jacobs to a 2 to 3 year deal. We need DB, and more DBs. Hardest position. Yeah, Brian Dubois, I don't know what he's doing with these quarterbacks, but he's able to get Daniel Jones right. I assume he would have been able to get Derek Carr right. Now, the difference for me is that Derek Carr, I feel like he's kind of scramble-brained when it comes to schemes and playbooks because he's just had to do too much. That's how I feel about Derek Carr. It's almost like he's been in the league playing so many different things that now he's just at a point to where he's at a breaking point. So we'll see what happens where Derek Carr goes and what happens with him. Daron Payne would work for us. Would love to bring him in, but I think they're going to re-sign him. I don't think they would have I think they would have traded Daron Payne if they wanted to let him go, just based on the simple fact that if they don't and that he's just going to walk for nothing. So it would have been smarter to trade him. Stidham QB1 next year and build up the defense and O-line. I mean, I definitely agree. We could potentially do that. I don't know if I want Stidham as QB1 yet. I don't know if I've seen enough, but based on the way he played yesterday, if he keeps doing that, he's going to have this job. Mike Morris, man, appreciate you being in here with us today. Catch it. I got Justice in the building with the super. Appreciate it, dog. If y'all can, don't forget to hit that like button, hit the sub button if you want to see more videos. We are thin at linebacker. If we draft one first, does Patrick's D truly improve? I don't think this defense improves if you take a linebacker in the first round, especially top 10. I haven't done enough film on these college players yet, which I was supposed to have been on my ish when it comes to this draft recently, but been somewhat busy. I don't know if we take a linebacker in the first, and I wouldn't want to. I would definitely want to go defensive tackle in the first. If we didn't go defensive tackle in the first, I'd want to go quarterback because I feel like that's where the value would be. And that would only be based off of a quarterback slipping to us like a CJ Stroud. I think that would be the only quarterback that I've seen so far that I really want. Now, you talk about defense. I think it's more feasible to draft defense in the first round. Defensive tackle. You go D tackle in the first round. If your guys in there, see if you could trade back. But most likely you want to try and get one of those dominant defensive tackles. Then in the second round, you get a linebacker. You talk about last year, we were willing to take an offensive lineman with that first pick. And in the very next pick, we took a running back. So you're talking about last year, we used the first and second round pick on Davante Adams. We used a third round pick on Dylan Parham, and then we used the 4th-round pick on Zamir Wright, if I'm not mistaken. So you talk about your first 4 picks were on the offense. We need our draft pick this season, this upcoming draft, to be all defense. And that's D tackle in the 1st round, linebacker in the 2nd round, and then potentially a safety or a cornerback in that 3rd round. After that, you can go find yourself an offensive lineman. It should be easy to do. It should be easy to go find yourself an offensive lineman on that third day. As far as the rest, you could find a safety late in the draft. You could find linemen, interior linemen. You could find those late in the draft. So I don't want to get too caught up in that. Damon Arnett and Averett, yeah, man. I definitely wasn't a big fan of Averett at all. Jarrett Stidham, Tyler Hall, the GOAT. I was wearing his jersey under mine yesterday. Hey, Tyler Hall is actually pretty solid. He's been looking good. Amik Robertson is making some plays as well. So the fact that Amik Robertson and Tyler Hall are looking to step up, I definitely do appreciate that, because these guys are a little bit on the smaller side, a little bit on the younger side as far as their careers. But one thing I would say is that, Nate Hobbs hasn't been stepping up as usual. Let's see if he bounces back next year, especially with some safety help. Bring back Harmon, have some more young safety help out there, bring in some more DBs, have those high-value picks in the interior, in that front 7 of the defense. I think we should be able to turn it around, man. Illuminor did do better than Leatherwood, 100%. 100% he did. Our guy, Mike, we can't say we have tried to help the defense. Just so many wasted 1st-round picks on the defensive side. I 100% agree with that, Mike. But one thing I would say is that it's bad drafting, though. Like, every time we drafted a player on the defense side of the ball, it was never a player we wanted. I mean, in general, we never drafted a player we wanted. But think about it. We could have grabbed Christian Barmore. No. What do? We take Alex Leatherwood. And it's almost like a no-brainer pick. Like, dude, just take – when we should have took Christian Darrisaw. Like, for me, it was either Christian Darrisaw or Christian Barmore. You take one of those guys. We took freaking Alex Leatherwood. That – no fan was thinking that. I mean, excuse me, I was. I know my boy Raider Scout was, because we kind of predicted that regime would do that, and they did. But it's just the simple fact that that's the bad regime. If you were just a no-brain, no bullshit kind of guy, you wouldn't have drafted those, right? Just before that, they take Cleveland Farrell. So it's just hard when your regime is shit and they draft like shit. Excuse my language, but it is what it is, man. Dragon Hendricks in the building. Been a minute. Happy New Year's, Raiders. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you pulling up. I hope everything's going all right with you, Hendricks. I know last time we talked, you were dealing with some things. I believe there was you're going to school, you were dealing with some car accident, I believe, or car problems. I hope everything is cool and your new year is starting out right, brother. Shout out to you and Happy New Year's. Steve O in the building with the super. Appreciate you, dog, supporting the channel as always. He says, Stid might or might not be the guy, but he has given us a chance to be a 49ers team. Top defense and O-line. He can at least produce. Well, this is the thing, man. If he's able to produce this way, I'm assuming we all agree that he just played at a level that Derek Carr would play at as well. I mean, every time Derek Carr threw for 3 touchdowns this season, he threw 2 interceptions. And a lot of people would say, well, they weren't his fault. And you can arguably say the same thing about Jarrett Stidham. And my argument in a response would be, would you rather pay a guy $20 million or a $20 million cap hit on your books to get the same performance as a guy that's making $1 million? So you're telling me you'd rather pay a guy for the same performance 20 times as much? It doesn't make sense. And especially when you're comparing a 9-year veteran making that much that has started throughout his entire career versus a career backup in Jarrett Stidham. It just doesn't weigh. You know what I mean? You put it on that scale, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Raid, who do you think Dave Ziegler should draft? Jalen Carter or Siaka Ika? Is that how you say his name? Siaka Ika? Jalen Carter all the way, man. If Jalen Carter is available, you take Jalen Carter, which I don't think he will be available at all. And this is something I did want to do, is bring up those draft boards, right? I wanted to bring up how we're going to look at the NFL draft. Currently, I believe we're sitting at let's see, tracker. Currently, I believe we are sitting at pick 9 or after yesterday's loss, I believe we're sitting at pick 7. Where are we at? Where are we at? What pick are we sitting at right now? 2023 NFL draft. Let's see, 2023. There we go. All right, Tankathon. Da, 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 da. We're sitting at the 6th pick, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Give me one moment. 7. We're sitting at the 7th pick. Okay, here I got. I'm gonna pull it up for everybody so we have some visuals here. Some people are listening, some people are watching, and if I can, I want to bring up these visuals so we could all take a peek just to see what this draft board is looking like. Appreciate you, EG, for bringing up the draft board. I did want to bring this up and just talk a little bit about how it's going to look when we go into this next season. As we can see, this right here says we are pick number 8. It says we are pick number 8. And this is loss 2. So this is pretty accurate. Who is below us now? Is it Atlanta who is supposed to be below us? Everybody's saying we're pick 7. This says we're pick 8. Let me see what's going on. Many would have won says we're 7th. Bentley the Gent says we're 7. You could just tell when Carr was going to get sacked. Yeah, a lot of those plays he was throwing it in the dirt or he was going to get sacked. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, man. It'll change tomorrow. Okay, bet. Most definitely, man. So let's go ahead and take a peek at this because I did want to talk about this draft order. And I also wanted to bring up the fact that, look, if we're picking 7th, you're talking about Houston. Is Houston going to take a quarterback? I don't know if Houston does, but if they do, you figure they might take Bryce Young right here with this first round pick. With this number 1 overall pick. Now, where does that leave us? You got Chicago. I think Chicago could potentially take Jalen Carter. Can we agree that Chicago is not going to draft a quarterback? And who else would they take outside of Jalen Carter? Potentially Anderson. They could potentially take Anderson. Now, the thing for me is if they take Anderson, if they take Bryce Young, Seattle has their choice, and they're going to take Jalen Carter if they don't want to replace Geno Smith. And that's where I just don't see us getting any of those top-tier players. You talk about C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter. Those are the top guys. Those are the top guys, in my opinion. And when you have Seattle, who's probably going to get defense, when you have Chicago, who's going to probably get defense, you talk about Arizona, what will Arizona do? They may take the best available defensive player, but again, Arizona's defense has been playing well. As a matter of fact, they might take that offensive lineman. What is it from Northern? Where's that guy from? Northern something. I can't even remember. Let me see real quick. $2023. Okay, so there's no 2023. Let me see. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and move on. Yes, Northwestern. That's what it was. Thank you very much. Northwestern, Joel says. That's what I was looking for. Shout out to our guy. Yes, there it is. Classic Q. Appreciate you, big dog. He says Bears take offensive tackle Peter Skor. I think it's Peter Skorinski's or something like that. So that's what I was trying to get my point across with that guy, whatever his name is. So you talk about Bryce Young right there at number 1. You talk about number 2 could potentially be that offensive tackle. Here, Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, either or. Arizona, what would Arizona take though? If Bears take that offensive lineman, who would Arizona take? Because Arizona's defense right now is let's be honest, Arizona's defense, I believe, is top of the line, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Arizona's defense right now is sitting as like a top 10 defense. So if they want to take defense and their offense isn't playing that great, then I don't know. I don't know what to say, honestly. Oh, they're not a top 10 defense. Actually, their defense is playing poor. Let me see real quick. I don't think that's right. I could have sworn defensive stats. Let me look at this real quick. Lineups, Pro Football Reference. Let me look at this. Cardinals defense. Where's the Cardinals defense sit at? Cardinals defensive stats. Pro Football Reference. No, their offense is shit. What the hell? I remember earlier in this season it was better. It was one of the top scoring defenses. Now it's shit. Dang. Ugh. That might hurt us. Arizona taking a pass rusher. Oh man. They go in wide receiver. I don't know if Arizona's going wide receiver. I don't know about that, especially this high. Really? Arizona wide receiver too? Who the hell would they draft this high? What, Harrison? Talking about Harrison? I was thinking they would take pass rusher. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking they would take pass rusher. Now that I see their defense ain't as good, because really, who is their pass rushers? They need DT with J.J. Watt retiring. Shit, he been retired, man, if you ask me. That boy J.J. Watt been retired. So let's go ahead and take a peek at this real quick, though. Anyways, let's say that's why it's so tough where we're at. That's why winning those couple of games really screwed us over, because now we're standing at a point to where it's kind of like, who are we going to be able to draft? Who's going to be available? And we're not going to be able to get those top tier guys. That's the only thing for me. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Here we go. Let me pull this up for the gang real quick. Bring this draft. Oh, what? No, I don't want this one. I'd rather get this one. Bring this up right quick. Paste and go. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. Let's take a look at this. Here we got the big board on the screen real quick, because I do want to talk about this, because you talk about the fact that next game, if we do beat the Chiefs, I would be excited. But just to be real, I don't know if we beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs is the top. They own this division the last 4 or 5 years. Let's be honest. If we beat the Chiefs, I'd be excited. But I believe this next game will be like it was against the 49ers. That's just in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. Maybe their starters will be out and we do win. We'll get pushed down the ladder when it comes to this draft board. But I do want to see what we can do in what we could do as far as this draft board falls. Now let me get back to the chat real quick. They don't got no pass rush right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They might need it. Some people are saying they need wide receiver. Some people saying we got to move up. Shout out to Natural Immunity. Brian Brees to Arizona. Okay, I can see that. 5 quarterbacks in the first 5. That's not, hell no. The Bears ain't taking a quarterback, man. Bears ain't taking a quarterback. Plus, I think the Chiefs will be trying to get the number 1 seed. Oh, yeah, definitely true. They could be. So let's go ahead and take a peek real quick, right? I wish I could split the screen, but right here, let's go ahead and switch back and forth. We got Houston. So with the first pick with Houston, I think they would take Bryce Young. I think we kind of agree. Well, this is one thing. I don't want to get Bryce Young, even if he was available, because look at this. I wouldn't want a quarterback that's 6 foot, 195 pounds. That's just not my style. I feel like that's you kind of limit your ceiling when you draft a guy that's 6 foot, 195 pounds to stand behind offensive linemen that are on average 6'4", 6'4", 300 pounds on average. The offensive lineman is. I think it's bigger than that. I think an average offensive lineman is about 6'4", 310 pounds. And you want a guy that's 6 foot, 195 to stand behind that? He's not even going to be able to see over the line. but he may be the number 1 pick. And if he is, then he'll go to the Texans. So you take him off of the board, right? Matter of fact, how do you do this? How do you do this draft? How do you do this draft? Mock draft? 2023 NFL mock draft. Here we go. So they got Bryce Young going to the Texans. Will Anderson going to the Bears. Either or. Oh, wow. They got us taking Peter Skoronski, the offensive lineman. Yeah, they drunk as hell, boy. They drunk as hell. If anything, I would say Peter Skoronski would probably go here where the Bears are at. I don't know if the Seahawks take C.J. Stroud. I could take see the Seahawks taking Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. Yeah, I don't like this draft. Is this automated or is this just – this is how it is? This is how it is. Okay. This is how it is. You move down. I don't see a quarterback. Arizona, they take a wide receiver. Who's the best wide receiver available? Quentin Johnston? No. Tough one, man. We may be looking at a Brian Breesy, Joey Porter Jr. Damn, yeah, we're looking at Tyree Wilson. I know a lot of people have been talking about Tyree Wilson. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Are y'all trying to do a mock draft? Is that what y'all trying to do? Trade DC to the Commanders for Payne in the third? I would do that. I would really do that. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not even going to lie. They would take on his cat. As long as they took on DC's contract, I would do that because we'd have to turn around and pay Payne. I'd probably want more than a third as well. You're right. I mean, in the top 7 picks for sure, at least 5 quarterbacks, potentially. Bust Young, yeah, I don't know about that one. Let's be honest. It wasn't the defense. Stidham had the ball in OT with the chance to win, and he threw it away. Stats doesn't matter. Quarterback has to win those games. Can't blame the defense for his bad pass. Yeah, Stidham, that was a bad pass, and I criticized him for that. I definitely did because he showed that same thing in the preseason. Jarrett Stidham showed the same thing in the preseason to where he'll throw these passes, and they'll just like lob in the air and flail. And just flob in the air and flail, and anybody gets a chance at it. Because you remember Keelan Cole had caught that one in the preseason, and we've seen it again today. So I want to see that kind of get eliminated. I think McDaniels needs to go to Stidham and say, okay, now you're getting some burn in real game. Don't be afraid to look at your checkdowns. Don't be afraid to go ahead and take the short throw because when you watch Stidham only wants to throw it deep. That's what it seems like. He wants to throw the ball deep every single time, which I'm not mad. But if he just tones it down, just maybe 10 to 20%, I think it'll show a lot more poise coming from that quarterback spot. Seattle could take a quarterback, potentially. They could. Ringo, defensive back. There was a shout out to our guy JT for pulling up. There's a reason you lost to Cam and Mac Jones. Oh, shit. You over here talking that shit to, oh, boy. Draft Will Levi or Levis, however you say his name. Where the F is Kuntz and Diablo? Diablo apparently is on IR. This is what everybody was telling me. I haven't even checked. I'm cool off Diablo. But as far as Kuntz, he needs to be able to get some burn. Like, I don't know what we need to do SVT, but we need to get some burn for sure. Need a LT or feed Miller some weight gainer. Yeah, Miller is out there getting bullied. K Morris, 48. I'm Mike Morris's son. Shout out to our guy, Caleb. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Shout out to you. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're doing great this morning. Happy New Year's to you, Caleb. Shout out to you being with us today. OG Face says, what the F defense got one stop all game and you defend that? Hold on. Who's defending that? You must be talking to someone else in the chat. I'm not really defending anything. And as far as the defense goes, defense played miserable. Ken Smith, we need a shutdown corner. So I see some people in here talk about cornerbacks. Potentially we could grab a corner, but I'm not 100% sure. I just get so nervous when it comes to drafting corners high like this, right? I'm just nervous when it comes to drafting corners this high. But while we're here, let's go ahead and do a draft. Let's do a draft simulation, right? Let's just see how the draft board falls. Should we use PFN? Should we use PFF? Let's go ahead and jump straight to PFF. Screw it. Oh, they got us at pick number at 10? They got us at pick 10? Oh, I don't know about that. That's wonky. That's wonky. Okay, we're at pick 8 right here. Quentin Johnston. Good God, Lord have mercy. I know damn well y'all didn't just do that, PFN. I know y'all did not just do that. They just, what the hell? They just had the Texans draft a wide receiver. Draft a wide receiver for what? Pennies on the dollar. Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Paris Johnson Jr. I don't know about that one, man. I don't know about that one. Let's see, reopen task manager. Copy. Go. All right, here it is. All right, let's do this real quick, y'all. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just go ahead and do this. All right. Let's just go ahead and do this real quick. Here we are. Pro Football Network. We're going to do the first 2 rounds for the Raiders. The first 2 rounds, that's all we're going to do before we get up out of here, man. Y'all help me pick a player in the first round. We got pick number 8 coming up. Y'all going to help me out. Ooh, we got to trade from the Chargers. I don't think I want to trade with the Chargers, especially to move to pick 24. Now, we do pick up pick 56. Ooh. Oh, hold up. And a first rounder? Ooh. Now, if this was real, I'm taking this all day. A third and a first? Oh, my goodness. Please, if that was real, please. Oh, if this was real, I'm taking this all day if this was real. Pick 91, 58, and 27. Ooh. Now, if we get any trades like this, okay, I'm a big advocate for trading back. I'm a big advocate for trading back. And if we're able to get quality picks like this, I'm down for it, especially when you get offered a first rounder in the next year. Oh, I'm with it. I'm with all that. But we're not going to trade in this one, all right? Now, we're at pick number 8. CJ Stroud went to the Texans. Makes sense. Miles Murphy, edge defender to the – now, a lot of people said that the Bears were going to take offensive line, which I think they may. But it could go either way. Bryce Young to the Seahawks. Now, if Bryce Young fell to the Seahawks, would they take him? Sit him behind Geno Smith? That would be very interesting. Now, keep in mind the Seahawks still have the 18th pick, so it's not like the Seahawks don't have another first-round pick, and they could take a chance at quarterback, and I think that's definitely something they could do. I don't think you could rule that out. Completely can't. Our guy Mike Moore says, in real life, that's a hell of a trade. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hell of a trade, if you ask me. He said that's a valid trade, visual combo. Crazy trade. I would love to get that. Carnell first for Texans first. I don't know if that would really happen, only strictly based on the fact that why wouldn't they just use their first to get their guy? You know what I mean? I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, I don't see the Texans trading for Carr because why wouldn't they just use their first to go get their guy? You know what I mean? I think that would be the best bet for them. But y'all see the draft board. Y'all have seen how it has fallen, and we're at a point right now at pick number 8 to where we need to figure out who we're going to draft. Now, SVT says we can trade our first and DC's first to the Bears for a quarterback. Now, why? Okay, so we're saying to trade both our first-round picks, if we get a first for DC, to move up with the Bears to get our quarterback. I'm not a big fan of trading up for a quarterback. I'll be honest. I don't want to do that. I really don't. Does our defense suck or does it not? That's kind of where I'm at with it. Does our defense suck or does it not? Now, if we're willing to trade 2 first-round picks to get a quarterback and then we go into 2023 bitching and complaining that our defense sucks, then I just kind of like look back with hindsight and say, well, why the hell are we sending 2 first-round picks for offense when the year prior we sent first and the second-round pick for a wide receiver. So for me, I'm not doing that. I would never do that, especially if we have 2 first-round picks. I'm using those 2 first-round picks on defense. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. For all you non-tankers, consider this. The Jets won a meaningless game last year and got Zach Wilson instead of Trevor Lawrence. Wow. Yeah, I feel you on that one, man. Sim picking OT is on Cole Miller. Yeah, you could definitely say that, man, but he still shouldn't have thrown that ball, in my opinion. I could see Young to Seattle. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that. Texas may want a vet. I mean, if you think about it as well, if there's any vet you would want to help you get through a dysfunctional organization, I think it would be Derek Carr. Let's be honest. If a team wanted a player that could help a locker room presence, that could help dysfunction, that could help kind of like turn around that vibe, Derek Carr would be that guy, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and take a dive, man, because we got to figure out who we're going to take. Now, we see who is available here on this right side of the screen. And honestly, you have Quentin Johnston, wide receiver, TCU. Ringo, cornerback for Georgia. All these advertisements. I don't really like how the board has fallen. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the defense. You get Trenton Simpson, linebacker out of Clemson. I don't know if I'd really go that route. Really, I would love to be able to pick up a D tackle. We have Brian Breesy or Tyree Wilson. Okay. Tyree Wilson, 6'6", 276 pounds. That's a monster right there. That is like DeForest Buckner size, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Brian Breesy, 6'5", 300 pounds, true interior defensive lineman right there. Now, you keep scrolling, you get guys like Joey Porter Jr., cornerback out of Penn State, measuring 6'2", 196 pounds. That's a great measurements right there. I mean, we know he has the skill set. We know he has talent. Where are we going to go with this draft pick? Go ahead and drop inside of the comments who you guys want to take, who's available right now. Go ahead. Drop it down in the comment. I agree, Raider J-Rock. We should have traded for him. We could have sent a second and a fifth. How many fifth-round picks do we have? We have multiple fifth-round picks. We could have sent a second and a fifth for Roquan Smith, gave him his contract, making $15 million, whatever it is. Especially if we get rid of Derek Carr, we're going to save that $35 million. Use half of that for a linebacker. You don't have to draft a linebacker now. You have a stud in Roquan Smith. You know he's a Pro Bowler. I don't know. That was a no-brainer trade for me. I would have done it. But someone told me that it would have been hard to get it done because Roquan Smith probably wouldn't have wanted to come to this team, to this defense. And it was easier for them to trade to the Ravens because, one, it's out of conference, which we're out of conference too. Two, he probably didn't mind going to the Ravens because the Ravens are known to have a good defense. He would have been with Patrick Queen out there as well. So it's a little different. Shout out to our guy, Ray Love. Draft left. I'm not taking this guy. I'm not taking him. Definitely not. I'm sorry, I can't. Devin Bush with the green dot. I don't know if we can get Devin Bush anymore. I think he's kind of washed up. Tyree Wilson. That's kind of what I'm leading towards. RJ says Wilson as well. At what point does Josh McDaniels get penalized for all the errors that he's made? I think he's already been getting bashed. You know what I mean? Solid pick and Breesy. Breesy or Tyree Wilson seems like the guys to go to. Porter Jr., I wouldn't be too upset with. I still need to watch my film on this guy right here. I've watched film on Wilson. Dude seems pretty cool. He seems cool. Still needs to be polished up. Breesy, we need D tackle. Wilson or Simpson. So far, Wilson seems to be getting the nod from the chat. The chat right now is giving the nod to Wilson. Visual Combo says Wilson again. Curtis Porter Jr. says Porter Jr. Come on, drop your vote. Drop your vote. I'm about to make, in 1 minute, I'm about to make the decision. Right now, Tyree Wilson is looking like the draft pick. Porter Jr. coming from Curtis Wilson again. What's that DT beast name? Let me know. Ringo coming in. Got a couple of Ringos, but right now Tyree Wilson seems to be taking a lead. Scroll down a bit to see So we can see more names. I got you, SVT. So this right here is just defensive players. Here's the defensive tackle spots, right? You got Siaki still. You got Brian Breezy still. I feel like these are the two that people will know about. You get Gervin Dexter here. I know he's been talked about some. I watched him as well, but I don't know if I'm 100% sold on him. You go to edge defender, you get BJ Alajari, the brother of I believe it's Aziz Alajari over in New York. Tyree Wilson, number one over here in this position. You talk about linebackers, you get Noah Sewell, Trenton Simpson. A lot of people said they want to go out here and get this brother right here, Henry Tuo'o To'o. I believe that's how you say his name. Cornerback, Kelly Ringo, Joy Porter Jr. Let's see what we get. Tyree, EG says Tyree. So it looks like we're going to go ahead and pick Tyree Wilson up. Edge defender out of Texas Tech. So far, that's what the chat is saying right now. Looks like we're going to take the Tyree Wilson. Let's see. I'll give it another couple seconds. Y'all. Don't forget to hit that like button. Go ahead and put your vote down. Make sure y'all put y'all vote down. Put y'all vote in before it's time. He says, damn, Cleveland Farrell 2.0. Really? Don't say that. That's painful. I don't think you could really say that. 6'6", 276 as an edge defender, and he's already being projected as a top edge defender in the first round. Cleveland Farrell was never projected as a top edge defender. Linebacker, Kevin says. I don't know if I'm going linebacker in the first round, though. I don't see that. Doesn't make sense. We need help on the defensive line. I would not take a linebacker in the first round. We need to work on the D line. That's where it all starts. If you start trying to go here outside of that, I feel like that's where you kind of hurt yourself. Joey Porter Jr. is getting a lot of votes. Curtis Williams voting again. Robert says Porter Jr. JT, you talking about my mama now? Because facts, JT be talking shit with other people in the chat. JT, put your damn vote down for the draft. SVT, who's your vote? SVT? JT, put your vote down. Steve-O, bro, we need DT. Chandler Jones and Kuntz have the edge. We have 0 DT. Well, let's be honest, though. We brought in Tillery. We brought in Matthew Butler. We brought in Nero Farrell Jr. We bringing back Andrew Billings. On the edge, we haven't even played Kuntz. Only ones we see is Chandler Jones and what's it called? But can't Wilson play that interior D tackle on a 3-4? Can he not? Can Tyree Wilson not play that D end as far as a interior 3-4 defensive end? He can't play that? All right, y'all. Right now it's between Breezy and Wilson. Breezy or Wilson? I'm leaning toward Breezy now because I do want D tackle. But I feel like Tyree Wilson. I feel like he could play that interior D line as far as a 3-4 D end, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here, he's showing to be that edge defender. Okay. He's not playing that interior. All right, man. So The verdict is in, y'all. We're moving on to round number 2. And we're going to take defensive tackle. We're going to take defensive tackle out of Clemson, Brian Breesy. The Raiders get their future defensive tackle to go up with. We're not going to do any trades. Here we are with pick 38. We took Brian Breesy, defensive tackle, y'all. Damn, shake my head. Not taking Joey Porter would be a usual mistake for our Raiders. Carr's not the quarterback next year. Get that in y'all head already. Yeah, I hear you, man. Check CBs. Let's go straight to the cornerbacks. I want to look at the linebackers real quick. This is probably the only one that you're looking at. Cornerbacks, you get Emmanuel Forbes, Tyreek Stevenson, Travius Hodges. Hell no, we're definitely not drafting him. Let's go ahead and take a look at edge defenders. Nolan Smith still available. Andre Carter II. That's crazy. Army right there, baby. Let's get it. Braylon Trice. But it looks like Nolan Smith. Siaki Ika. Forbes, no doubt. Okay. Forbes. Okay. Drew Sanders, linebacker. I hear you. I hear you. Looks like people are going after Emmanuel Forbes, 6 foot, 181 pound cornerback out of Mississippi State. That's a tough one. I'm here with Henry. 200. I don't know if I don't know if I'm a big fan of taking a cornerback that's 6 foot, 180 pounds. That's smaller than Anthony Averett. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. Henry T.O.O. Sorry, but it's the same old story. Last moment, seemingly we got it and then blew it. This time, not Carr now, Jarrett. I still think the only problem is McDummy and his staff, mainly on defense. I think we still have time to come to the verdict. He's a dog, 6 interceptions. Henry T.O. or Nolan Smith. I don't know if I want to go corner this high. Bro, what's good with you, Evans? Appreciate it, dog. That's small for an outside corner. Like, we already got a Meek Robertson out there. Like, I don't know if I want to take DBs this high. Like, I feel like, what's the point of taking DBs, right? Think about it like this. What's the point of taking a DB if you have no pass rush? Like, it don't really matter who the DB is because you don't have no pass rush. Your front seven is not strong. The middle of the defense isn't strong, and that's what we need, I feel like. So when you start to get away from that, the rest of your DBs, it's not going to work. It's not going to it's not going to do anything. I'm really looking at Henry right now. We already got our D tackle in Breesy. Jalen Carter? You mean Jalen Carter? All right, y'all. We're going ahead and get the pick in, and the pick is in. With the second pick in the 2023 draft, the Las Vegas Raiders take man. With the second pick, the Raiders take Henry T.O.O. linebacker out of Alabama. There it is, y'all. Those are the 2 picks that we picked up early. We had to do it. We had to go strictly defense. We had to do it. We had to go defense on this one. Maybe next time the chips will fall differently. Maybe next time we'll take Tyree Wilson. Maybe next time we'll do this or we'll do that. But today we're taking defense both ways. Brian Breesy, Henry Tioho. This was just a fun, quick thing to do at the end of this live, y'all. Appreciate y'all being participants, being here today, man. I hope y'all have a good New Year's. We go ahead and end it like that. Hopefully, the Raiders can show something more against Kansas City as well, man. I appreciate y'all being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. This was a fun one. This was definitely a fun one. Shout out to y'all. We get a B- from our guy, Raider Biggs. Grade A right here from our guy, Charles. Appreciate that, man. We depleted in linebacker, so we needed that 100%, man. We needed linebacker. We need our front seven to be strong. I just believe you have to start in one spot and not try to spread everything out so much. I feel like we do that a lot, and we'll say, well, we need this, we need this, we need this. And a lot of times we just need to focus on one thing and make one thing dominant. And I would really want our front seven to be dominant, mainly our defensive line. And that's why I feel like we have to continue stacking there. If your defensive line is stacked, they're going to make the rest of your defensive backs look good. Like you think about the Niners, they don't really have that great of defensive backs, let's be honest. But their front seven is so strong and they're so good and get to the quarterback is that they're helping their DBs in that way. And I feel like that's what we need to do and continue stacking, especially since we already are paying $50 million to this defensive line. We need to continue adding to it so it's just dominant at that point. So regardless, I could be out there playing cornerback and I could be covering long enough because our D line is so strong they get to the quarterback like that. So that's kind of my formula. That's kind of how I see it. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Shout out to everybody that pulled up on us. Happy New Year's to everyone. I hope you have a safe, prosperous, great New Year. And until next time, y'all, rate the tape.